to exposing Rachel and Benjamin.
We're both bisexual, and we've hid that for the longest time in our lives because we were both super religious, but we ain't hiding it no more. And so we actually talk a lot about it in our social media, and we get a lot of hate comments, right? Like, how can you be married? Is this a fake marriage? Or what it's like to be married as a bisexual person. Why would you even get married if you like both genders? And so that's what we're talking about here today. I guess for you, Rachel, when you hear somebody say, how can you be married if you're bisexual? What comes to mind?
Well, I think it's really difficult to say that anybody who is attracted to multiple genders can't get married, because I relate it to the same as you can be a man attracted to multiple women, right? It doesn't mean that you can never get married because you're attracted to other people. I just think that's a really stupid argument, because of course we're always going to be attracted to other people. Like, you're going to be attracted to other guys and girls, I'm going to be attracted to other guys and girls, but attraction isn't what makes a marriage. Attraction is a great bonus, and we're so lucky that we have it, but that's not what makes a marriage. So when people say, how can a bisexual person, choose a gender to get married with, or they just have to be in an open relationship, it's just dumb.
Like, liking both does not mean that you need to have both. Like, if you like both chocolate and Nutella, they're different flavors, but at the end of the day, they're both dessert. They both give you the sweetness in your mouth. And so, does that mean you need to have both to be satisfied? You could just have Nutella for dessert and you can still be extremely satisfied.
Or there's probably one that you preference more than the other. Just because you're attracted to both genders, it doesn't mean that, like for me, for example, no offense to this, but if you ever passed away, which would be terrible and awful, I would definitely marry a woman, because I think you can just tell sometimes what gender you feel like. There's a difference between being attracted and like, okay, who do I want to marry, spend the rest of my life with, share a home with, share a life with. So, and that's not to you, I'm just saying, I think a lot of times people still have preferences. Chocolate and Nutella are both great, but there's probably one that you feel like that makes more sense for me.
Yeah, well, and I guess that's really about, like personality compatibility and sexual attraction, right? So for you, I think you're just a lot more comfortable with soft, feminine people. And I am, like, if you look at me with weird clothes and some makeup and dyed hair, you'd think I'm very feminine, but I'm very aggressive, which is usually a very masculine trait, right? Like, being very strong and assertive and aggressive. And I think that's why you're saying that, right? Like, that you'd like a more soft person.
Yeah, like, even in guys that I would date in the past, it turned out like they were all gay because I really am not attracted to me, it is probably trauma or whatever, but like assertiveness to me, I equated a lot to like aggression or like, just that toxic masculinity. I just hate that. And that's why I think you have such a healthy mix of both. Like, I wouldn't say that you're 100% like masculine, assertive all the time. Now, 80% of the time you are, but the other, 25, 35, 45% of the time, you're soft and sweet with me. Me specifically, because I need it. So I think it's too just like, are you attracted to somebody who, and not even male or female, like there could be a lesbian who's a lot more masculine and take charge of a woman that you want to be with versus a guy who maybe is more soft. So I think it just depends, like you said, like what dynamic do you feel like fits you better?
Yeah, I agree. And that's like, I guess why I wouldn't marry a man in the future, right? If you died or something happened, because I've never like had a crush on a guy. I thought they were hot, right? Like, I look at a male body, I think it looks hot, but I don't wanna like be in a relationship.
Like talk all night in bed and like giggle and like share your souls with each other.
Or be masculine with each other. Like, that's never something I liked or wanted, And so it's just funny to see like how things are different. But at the end of the day, being bisexual means that you literally are attracted to both. It may be more sexual than personality-wise. It may be more personality than sexual, but it's probably a mix of both. And that means that you could fit in with both genders, right? Not just with one or the other. So again, that question just sounds kind of stupid, which I get, like people are ignorant, right? It's not their situation. That's why asking questions instead of making assumptions is always the best way to sound smart, right? Because you don't make dumb assumptions.
I'm wondering for you specifically, and again, this is like kind of putting gender in more of like a categories, because I don't want to say like, oh, men are hypersexual, or like most men are a lot more interested in sex and women are. I think that's, I think it's for the most part true, but not always. Do you feel like for somebody it would be more important, like let's say for men, for example, do you think it would be more important for them to be married to somebody that they are really sexually attracted to and feel like will share the same sex drive for their whole life? Or do you think, because people can cheat whether or not it's because they're bisexual, whether they're straight, whether whatever.
You're saying if they're bisexual, I think they should go bisexuality or personality.
Yeah, I guess. Like, what do you
I think personality for sure. Because when you're 80, you're not going to be having sex all the time. And even right after you get married, like, we're not fucking all the time. You're talking all the time. You're building life goals together. You're working on your dreams. Like, you're talking and building a life together more than you are having sex. And so I think that it should definitely be more about that than sexuality. And I think that when people go into marriage because of sexual attraction, like that's the main thing holding them together, it doesn't really go very well.
Why do you think that is?
Because if I just think of like a few people who were very sexual and they got married for that reason, and we just talked to someone about this the other day, they ended up cheating because they just wanted like to keep things very spicy, and you can do that in marriage. Mm-hmm. But if there's not like deeper personality traits, deeper visions, right? Like you both share the same vision for what you want in life for the next 10, 20, 30 years. If there's not a very deep root of why you're together, then sex you can have with anybody. Like sex is not that special,
Sex doesn't equate intimacy, right?
Yeah. So really connecting a deeper level is what to me makes a lot more difference if you're choosing.
Because I notice in terms of cheating, it usually is for sex. Like usually the person will say, well, I guess that's not true. Like I think men will be like, oh, it's just sex, it meant nothing to me. And women, it's usually more like they had an emotional affair, right? Like, oh, this guy treated me so well and he was paying attention to me. And so I guess regardless, despite whether you're gay or straight or bi, just having a solid lines of communication. And some people, like, we're in a closed marriage, we have no desire to open it, we don't want to be swingers, we don't want to have sex with other people, like it's not at all what we want to do. But I think for some people, like that person that we were talking to, their marriage it works. Like
they got divorced because she cheated, so it didn't work.
They were engaged, they weren't married yet.
We're talking about different people then.
What? How many people do we know?
I'm talking about somebody who cheated because she was horny as fuck and like she likes young boys and she cheated on her husband. And so it's somebody who's very sexual.
But then
then there's somebody else who's also very sexual and they're in an open marriage.
Yeah, and that works for them.
And that works for them.
Super happy.
Which is like, again, if you come from a very conservative background like us, it's very easy to be very judgmental, right? If we heard about open marriages 6 months ago, we thought it was like the craziest thing in the world, so ungodly, unholy,
Which,
so
I'll be
gross.
honest, for me, it's still like such a foreign concept. Like
it's
I
weird.
get it on paper, but I still can't ever see myself being. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. Like I wouldn't be able to.
What I find weird about it is that if it's just sexual encounters and you're not like having a real longer relationship with the person, I think like that's understandable. Still odd, but understandable. But if you're seeing the person consistently and you're dating other people, I feel like that's when you can really develop like feelings for others. And I think that's the biggest issue I see. I feel like sexual encounters are not that awful now that I'm more open-minded to like other people's choices, right? How they want to do their marriage. Because ours is very closed.
Because not like you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It's
but if
like you have your husband at home.
Exactly.
Or your wife at home.
But like if you're developing feelings because you're seeing these other people consistently, then I find it really hard to work. Because eventually you're gonna have a year where your marriage is sucky and things are going really hard, and then you have this boyfriend, somebody else who you just met and you're having a better time with them, obviously, because life is a lot easier with that person. And I think it's very easy to get confused and go the easier route in the short term and let go of something that you've built long term that's struggling at the moment instead of working on it, right? And so I think that's the danger of open relationships if it's like consistent. I think
I guess that's where it turns into like throuples and quadruples. I guess if you and your partner both
You
like
could.
have boyfriends or girlfriends.
if you both like them, but then if the
Like
guy doesn't like
polyamorous.
boys, the guy doesn't like boys, just likes girls, like it doesn't always
It
work.
doesn't compute.
And then it's about like breaking rules from society, right? Like I think you gotta be very bold to be doing that, like to be openly in a place like that. But again,
There's like a show we watched called From Couple to Throuple. Here's the thing: most throuples it didn't work. Why? Because it's usually a dynamic that's kind of difficult to navigate.
yeah, I feel like there's always gonna be somebody left behind.
There's always a third wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not. Yeah, that show was really agonizing for me to watch, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, it was odd. But hey, if it works for you, test it out. And good luck. But I think life is all about choices, right? Doing whatever works for you. But I do think that it would be really hard to do something like that. I don't have no interest of doing that. But we are, as you guys call it in the comments, the bicon. So let us know any questions you have about being bisexual, in a straight relationship as bisexual people. And I think it's funny because like so many people say you make your sexuality your whole personality, especially because in my music page, my last song, Odd Gold, was all about coming out of the closet, accepting yourself. And then all they see is videos of me with this one song about accepting your sexuality when your whole life you've been struggling with it because you're hiding in the closet. But again, we're only talking about these things in this channel because it was a big deal for us to come out. I never thought I would. She was probably 10 steps behind me, right? Because when I came out to you, I said I'll probably tell everyone one day because I don't like hiding. And she was kind of afraid of it, which is understandable, right? Because people just think that I was your beard, right? That you were my beard. So
yeah, that's the thing is like I had felt those feelings, so I completely understood. But like I was gonna die with my secret. Like there is not one person, especially like friends or family. Like I didn't even tell my husband, So
why did you tell everybody, right?
Why would you tell everybody?
So why, I guess, are we making videos about this now? Like, why are we making this our whole personality?
That's a good question. You tell me. I think it's just about.
Is it? Because we have videos about beauty, we have videos about living religion, we have videos about a lot of things. So, one, it's not our whole personality. Second, why are we talking about this?
I think the most important thing is I wish, not for me, but for Bender, that you had been able to see more examples of people who are bi and like normal and accepted by society. Because for girls, it's not as much as a big deal. Like I would kiss my girlfriends and I was never afraid of somebody thinking I was like a queerdo. But then for you, like young boys deal with it a lot more. So if anything, I just want young boys, and of course young girls to see too, but I think it's not as much of a big deal for them. It's not really fair, but it's the truth. Like young guys like you who are bi, who are like, well, I do want to experiment with guys, but honestly, I do want to marry a woman. Like that doesn't mean that I want to be in only a gay relationship.
And you don't
It's
know
important for
until
them to
you
see.
try, right? Like, and we didn't really try because we were religious. But I guess it's just really about breaking the stigmas. That's why we talked about these things here, because there's a lot of pain that comes from hiding parts of yourself that you cannot change. And if you were born and you grew up feeling out of place because you couldn't change an aspect of you that was such a big part of who you were. So that's why we talk about these things, so that people can feel more normal, right? Like you're not alone in the process. But again, any curiosities, things you guys want to know, let us know in the comments. Follow us on social media, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.